Hey everybody, welcome to the Prep Life podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger. We're broadcasting live from the studio in my car with my fabulous co-host, Leemarie Hossetter. Hey Lee, how's it going?
Hey, going good. I'm broadcasting from the same old living room couch.
Okay, so with this podcast being non-explicit, we're just gonna say this is about the stuff that they don't tell you about prep, but we might say ish or something of that nature. You get what I'm saying. It's the real, the raw, the things that not a lot of people maybe talk about. As we do love prep, both of us, in terms of like just striving for goals and things like that, there are some difficult parts of it. And I think it is important to, you know, obviously we're choosing to do this. I've been choosing to do this 37 times. Something like that. So I mean, obviously I enjoy it. But there are some tough parts and some things that I think a lot of people don't highlight, or definitely not the glamorous side of prep is what we're gonna get into. So
Mhm.
anything to add to that weird intro?
Oh, I love it. We've definitely, the more you do it, the more preps you do, the more you learn. And sometimes you just might not think about some of these things that we're going to talk about, but so
Yeah.
it's all part of the journey. And I love prep because it has taught me so much about my body and just helped me to know my body and what my body needs. So you might
Yeah.
think that prep is working against your body, but really it's not. It's working with your body and getting to know what your body needs. So
Yeah. So we're not trying to bash prep, obviously. That's not very good job security for us. No, I'm just kidding.
love
But,
prep.
but we do. I always want people. I want athletes to know the expectations going into things, so that they aren't like blindsided, disappointed. Just so that you're prepared, like with your decision to get into prep. Sometimes it's like one of those things. Like I don't know. They always say like you kind of forget like the pain of childbirth. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a little bit like that sometimes, but the rewards I think outweigh these things that are a little wonky, crazy, cuckoo about our sport, and sometimes a little rough. So, do you want to kick it off with your first bullet? Okay.
So I want to say this, and this is the first thing that I thought of. And I know everybody knows this going into prep, but you don't really actually know that it takes so much time. Like so much time. And the two things that I can think of, I mean, obviously meal prep, all of that takes a lot of time. Working out takes a lot of time. But the two biggest things for me, especially near the end of prep, are your steps and your cardio. You could be doing steps up to 20,000. That is a lot of steps. If you don't have an active job, that means you're going for walks in the morning, you're going for walks on your lunch break, you're taking as many walks around the building while you take a bathroom break, you're parking in the back of the parking lot, and you're going to on a walk before you go to bed. So steps and then cardio could get up really high. One big thing, especially at near the end of prep, is you don't have as much energy to devote to high intensity cardio. So you need to do steady state, low intensity, and a lot of it. So I think the biggest I've gotten is 90 minutes of cardio plus trying to shoot for 15, 20K steps. And it just takes so much time. Thankfully, with my job, I can get in steps. So that's good. But
Yeah. Yeah.
budget for time.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that. And I want to say one extra thing on time aspect that I think a lot of people underestimate the time it takes you to like just check in. And I don't know why, but like it's just kind of annoying. Like getting on your heels, getting the lighting right, like the correct time of day, especially when you just like need to get a bunch of stuff done
Mhm.
and like you're hungry and you just want to eat like first thing in the morning or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's something that I think that you definitely have to budget extra for, especially like in peak week. I don't think people understand that there's so many extra like check-ins and things like that. And that can be kind of difficult, especially like if you have to like get family around or like get up early for a job. And for me, I like to do it on the weekends on Sunday so I can like actually sleep in and I'm not like rushed. I don't know. That's just one thing I feel like is kind of a pain.
Yes, absolutely. And then in prep, I feel like it takes mental energy too, because you're never sure if you made the progress. You don't want to let your coach down, even though you know that you're not going to let them down. But then
Yeah.
on peak week, you have zero energy. So the thought of changing into your suit, putting your heels on, setting up that light multiple times a week, definitely it's draining.
Yeah. And I think alongside with that, um, I think just in general, like meals and
Mhm.
the anxiety around like food that kind
Mhm.
of piggybacks into that. I feel like it's like sometimes you're just like you want that first meal so badly, or you want to get your cardio done so quickly so that you can eat that meal, or maybe it's that you've like completely run out of meals and you've got like hours and hours left on the day still that you kind of like are just gassed.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, like the whole like energy distribution part of it is sometimes has to be like very strategic. And sometimes it can just hit you like you weren't ready for it. I mean, obviously being consistent with your meals and your meal timing and like, participating in your carbs like pre and post workout and things like that. But it's like sometimes there's just extra things that you have to do that it just really overextends your time, your energy. Um, so
Mhm. Do you want to go every other one, or was that kind of
sure.
yours?
Yeah, you can go on the next one.
Okay, so my next one is kind of twofold. You will get very in tune with your body. So the two things that I was especially in tune with was energy levels related to carbs. I know that we we know this. We eat carbs before we work out. We eat carbs after we work out. Carbs give us energy. But when you're eating, kind of a just balanced diet, even if you're dieting a little bit, but you're eating enough food, you don't really feel the effect of carbs. When you are very depleted and you get carbs, it's like better than an energy drink. Like
Especially for you, I feel like
my gosh,
they're like
the
crack for
amount
you.
of energy. I am bouncing off the walls when I get carbs. And it's also like, for me at least, it's more the lighter carbs. So like the easy to digest, the sugars, if I can get some honey on rice cakes or cereal or fruit versus like the heavy carbs like pasta or even rice or things like that. Kind of, I don't like that as much. That gives me more of the carb coma that people talk about, but like those, it gives you so much energy. And so I'm very in tune with that. But then also sometimes when I get refeeds, after I've been very low, I'll get exhausted. And I think it's just my digestion just working overtime now. So it's just like you're very in tune with the different ways that nutrition affects you even more, which I kind of think is cool. And then you also are very in tune with your digestion because even though we try to keep fiber up, at some point your food's just going to get so low that going regularly might not be a thing. And so
It's like a treat if you do.
it's a little party when it happens. And so a lot of the times, like if you find a hack that works for you, and there's tons that you can go through. For me, taking my magnesium daily, and then at one point, I can't remember if this was in prep or in an improvement season, but I realized that having a banana and coffee in the morning makes zero sense. The coffee, yeah, but the banana, no. But literally kept me regular for like weeks. And I don't know why, but you got to find something that works for you. Near the end, you might get a little desperate and have to try something like smooth move tea, or like for me, magnesium always does the trick. But yeah, the feeling of relief when you get a good trip to the bathroom is definitely a thing in prep.
Yes, for sure. I would say so. I think a lot of people, and I mean, there's more information out now, so I think that it's changed a little bit. But like when I was first starting out, I just wasn't aware of the importance of posing. Like I
Mhm,
spent zero time on it.
mhm.
Um, and it like I did figure for my first category, and spending zero time on figure is ridiculously stupid. It takes you like 6 months to try to get a lat flare,
Oh,
in my opinion. I mean, to like get a
uh,
really good lat flare, I looked so terrible on stage. I mean, in terms of like my posing, and
mm,
I mean, I don't know. I just at first, I just did not like. emphasize that. And I do think that that's something that you really have to like set aside your time budget for is
Mhm.
posing.
I think also to piggyback on that, even though we've both done, I mean, you done, quadruple the amount of shows that I have done, but both of us have done a lot of shows and we've worked on presentation and flow with posing. I mean, you're a posing coach, like you know how to pose. Still, when you get back into a prep, it's the conditioning part of it. You have to be conditioned for that intense arch in your back and the vacuums that you have to hold and the posture. Like if you're not posing regularly and you think, oh, I've done this so many times, I know how to pose, like you're going to be dying up on stage if you haven't practiced.
Yeah. And I've never, up until last year, posed on both sides. And that made a world of a
Mm.
difference. And just like hitting my other side because I was forced to with WBFF, like I had to hit both sides. It made me so much more flexible, like so much more like flowy on stage. So I do think that um I've been slacking like in the improvement season, and it's like
Mhm.
when I put on my heels to check in, I'm very stiff. Like it takes a lot for me to kind of like get back into those heels. So I mean, I still need those reminders. But that's definitely one that I don't think it's like emphasized as enough in that regard. Even when we like basically tell our athletes that they should be having a half an hour at least with the posing coach like once a week. Um, okay, so do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, so a random one with me, and this happens near the end of prep, is that my skin clears up and gets so good. I just don't have great skin and I take care of it, but I just naturally have oily skin and it just happens. And I eat a pretty clean diet, but near the end of prep, I think just taking out every single additional sauce or condiment or crystal light or EAA that has that artificial sugar, all those little things with chemicals get taken out. You're drinking plain water, you're eating plain foods. My skin gets so good.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that people don't tell you is like, especially if you've never done this before, it's like how precise your nutrition actually needs to be, how you do need to track things like gum and some certain condiments that have calories and things like that. Um it's pretty like next level, and outsiders that I see even now where they're like, "Oh, why what are you doing on your phone? Like why are you like taking a picture of that like barcode or whatever?" And I'm like, you have to be very like careful about your nutrition, and I think that that's something that like the level of the nutrition is like if you don't know much about the sport, that's something that's like pretty
Mhm.
hardcore.
I mean, if you chew 2 sticks of gum a day, have like one Crystal Light packet or an energy drink, that's like, 10 calories. We don't even 5 calories. We don't even track that. That could add up to be an extra 100 calories a week. 100 calories could be the change that your coach makes in your week.
Yeah, and
But
it could
then
be
just
as
not
much
tracking
as
that.
20 carbs,
Yeah.
which is a significant amount of carbs.
Even though you're thinking over the source of a week, those tiny little changes are not going to be changes unless you're tracking everything.
Yeah, because those are like 3 rice cakes, and your coach could be
Yeah.
thinking, "Hey, I'm gonna do a 20 carb calorie cut," which is pretty significant, and if
It
you
is.
are adding that in and not
Yeah,
even factoring it, yeah, for sure. Next one.
it's you.
It's
It's
me? Okay. Um, so I had talked about the precision of the nutrition. Let's say, feeling flat in the gym. I
Mhm.
think sometimes not getting a pump, just those moments of fatigue that just kind of hit you where you're not lifting nearly as heavy as you used to. You kind of feel like a wimp in the gym.
Mhm.
I think that once you get into like the grind of prep, there are so many days that you can just feel like so puny.
And then on the other side of that, my next one is some days you will have random bursts of energy for no reason.
Yeah.
So literally, it just happens sometimes and use it and be thankful for it. No, it's not going to last long, but when you're in the depths and feeling flat and hitting a wall in the gym, just remember someday you'll get that energy back and it'll be random.
Yeah. Um, so the other day I thought about this. It's so random too, but when your underwear even gets baggy,
My
where
gosh.
your underwear is like
Yeah.
hanging off of you and it doesn't fit you anymore, but then it's like you don't want to pay for like prep underwear and then regular underwear, like real people problems. Like, and then
Also, I like those of us that don't have like implants too. There
boobs.
are times when like I don't even need to wear a bra.
Yeah.
Like you can't even tell, and it's a little bit sad. Like you kind of feel like a little boy. You're like, I got nothing.
There's nothing up here. No, I've been there before I got mine. Okay, so along those same lines, I feel like when I'm in the grind of prep, it's like everything's falling off of me. Like I feel like my butt is like my pants keep falling down off my butt. I'm like jacking them up and they're just falling off. Especially like jeans that kind of like stretch as you wear them and they're like basically like showing your underwear. Yeah. And then I just never want to like so in Lululemon, I buy all sixes, like for my bottoms and things like that. But in prep, I could wear like a four, and I'm just like, I can't do it because I'll
You
feel
don't.
too uncomfortable when I'm like out of the like super, super lean phase. So you
I have to
kind
be
of
really
like,
careful with shopping and like buying stuff because
yes,
it's such a temporary time. And if you buy clothes that look fit you really well in those last few weeks, it's
yes,
so hard mentally when you go back to normal.
yeah. And they do not fit year round.
Exactly. And you're like, and then you want to keep them, and you're like,
Like so cute.
they just become like goal pants or something, and that's not
Mhm.
healthy.
No, no, exactly.
Okay, so kind of on the same note, so compliments from an outsider, like just a
Mhm.
normal person that's not a competitor, not a bodybuilder, they don't mean near as much as running into a fellow competitor when you're in prep. They might be in prep, they might not be in prep, but they see you and they acknowledge there's this acknowledgement of, I know what you're going through. Yes,
Mhm.
you look insanely good, but I know, like, I know. And so their compliments, it's kind of twofolded. It's like, oh, you are looking really good for your show, but wow, I feel you on the no energy and the no carbs. I feel you
Yeah.
versus someone that just comes up to you in the gym and just goes, "Oh my gosh, your abs, you look so good. I just want your body." And in your head you're thinking, "Yeah, no, you don't."
Yeah, so diet face is definitely a thing. Like I feel like that's I get that like a lot in terms of just I don't know, I just like I usually have like very like chubby cheeks, for the most part. And so the diet face, you can really tell like that I'm in prep, like when I have the diet face. And then along those same notes of just being lean and being like freezing in the summer. I mean, I'll run the fireplace like in the summer. It's like, it's so bad. Just random coldness because you're so lean.
And then on the opposite side, like when I start putting on body fat, I'm like hot all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Carb sweats, meat
Yeah,
sweats.
exactly. But the diet phase, that's a hard one for me because I do feel like I have naturally more of a like round, chubby face. And so so when I get the diet face, I kind of love it because I actually have cheekbones and a jawline and stuff, but then it's
Yeah.
you only get it for like a couple of months out of the year. But I do know some people that just naturally have their bone structure is just more, even at a higher body fat, they just have a more chiseled jaw, and so for them, it's hard not to look just gaunt. And
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. You have cute cheeks though. Don't
love
hate
it.
on
Okay, so my next one, you have to find another dopamine boost. Because even if you don't think that you get dopamine hits from food, like if you're not really a food as rewards kind of person,
them.
once you get into prep and you have to not eat, like you're hungry, but then you're also not eating things that you might crave. So you have cravings, but then you're just hungry all the time. You're going to start looking for something to give you a high. And especially as females, if you don't find something, it's going to be online shopping because you're going to be too tired to leave your couch and actually go to a store. And it's so easy to scroll and get that little hit of buying things like clothes and accessories and things for the gym and makeup and stuff. Oh, yeah, me too.
So guilty.
Especially since you can't.
It was on my list. We both put it on our list. We did this separately.
So I think things for me, like I love little sort of mindless, but also like take a little bit of brain energy. Like I'll do like a crossword or Sudoku puzzles or a couple of preps I've like knit or crocheted or just like little things that kind of are entertaining and keep you busy that you can just do for a little bit, like play a little game on your phone for 15 minutes or something, something that's not online shopping.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have a compulsive online shopping, and that's when I buy those outfits that I'm only looking cute in during like peak week. Yeah, I sucker for those. So, okay, what are some other things? I would say, and I mean, I think if you don't know much about the sport or if you haven't done your research, like just the cost of competing, it it's a very expensive sport. And like these little like bills, like you really should, budget them out. Like talk with a coach that knows what they're doing, like if you've never competed, because it I remember my first show, like thinking those last couple of weeks, like things were just adding up, and I was like, whoa, like this is a lot. Didn't realize how much this would be. um so not only just like your monthly like coaching that you have to pay for and stuff like that, and like the big items like entry fees and suits, but there's just like little things like buying tickets for people, or like photo shoots, or like I don't know, like hair and makeup and like tips and just
Nails,
like
get your nails done. You might
yeah,
hair extensions.
getting your hair dyed, like cut, all that stuff. It adds up. So yeah, just like the cost of competing is kind of out there if you've never been around the sport.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Random. And this is kind of me anyways, but especially on prep. Anytime you leave the house, it's an ordeal. So you can't just jump in the car and go. Like you have to have your emotional support water bottle. You might need a couple other drinks like your EAAs or your pre-workout. You're gonna have to leave with probably at least one meal. So then you're gonna have to have a bag that's cooler, keep it all. And then just in case you might have a delay or have to wait in line at the DMV, or you might have car trouble, you might need to have an extra meal along because you cannot be crashing. So leaving the house takes planning. You got to take half your kitchen with you.
Entourage.
Mhm.
Yes. 100%. And
Mhm.
then I would say just like in terms of sleep, I feel like it's so frustrating because you're tired a lot like during the day, like you may need to like take a nap or like go to bed early, but then sometimes like your hunger will like wake you up in the middle of the night, or like how much you have to pee, or you'll wake
Mhm.
up super early and like you don't want to be awake, you want to be sleeping because but you're so hungry that you're awake. So yeah, just like random how your sleep schedule starts to get once you get really lean.
Yep, yep. And then you're exhausted in the middle of the day, wide awake at night.
Yep, yep, 100%.
Mhm. Do you have more? Those were all of mine.
Okay, yeah, so I would say just like prep brain. I
Mhm.
think I've done probably, can you think of like a silly thing that you've done that's like just been like 100% like prep brain because you weren't like on enough carbs, like you just completely forgot something, or
Well, no, but I drop things.
okay, you
I
become
will literally,
clumsy.
I'll just drop. I'll drop my keys. I'll drop my coffees. I'll just drop things like all the time. Like I cannot hold on to things. 'Cause- And then sometimes you got to be really strategic sometimes with work too, because sometimes I'll sit down and I'll need to process a check-in for a client. And it's like, I don't even know how to write a workout plan anymore. Like, what am I doing? So that mental energy, it's like, okay, take a nap, get some food in you, go back. It's not that hard.
I've done the clumsy thing. I have totally done that where I spill things and like drop
Yep.
things, and that's like when I crack my phone. That's funny. That's
Ah,
funny that you say that. But I've done some like just where it's like the only thing I can equate it to is like when I was pregnant, I would just like be in the middle of doing something and I just like completely forgot what I was doing. Like I remember I was pregnant with my son and I was teaching step aerobics and I like would just forget what I had just told like the class. And like that's what I equate it to sometimes in prep brain. It's like I'm talking about something and I'm like, what was I just
Yep.
doing? What was I
I'll,
like?
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Middle of a sentence, I'll stop for a sec. Like I would do this with my mom all the time. We'd be in the middle of a conversation and I would be like, middle of a sentence. Oh, what are we talking about? I totally blanked. Like, remind me. I have no idea what I was gonna say.
Yeah. My last prep, I lost my keys
Oh no.
and it was like they were in some parking lot and it was like I don't ever do that. Like where I just drop my keys and don't notice. Like it was horrible. But that
Yeah,
was like my worst
I do that
one that
all
I did
the
last.
time. I lose keys like twice a week. So
It's
maybe
like not something I do. So it was like very out of character. But anyway. Okay. So other than that, I
I
think
think one, too, for me, I just thought of another one
yeah.
is like the amount of like, even though prep is really hard, once you get out of it into the improvement season, how much you miss it. That always
Yes.
surprised
Yeah.
me, how much I miss being in prep. And I have to remind myself of all these things we talked about. I just enjoy it so much.
I'm telling you, it's like childbirth. Like you don't remember the pain because you after you do it, then you're like, oh, okay, this was worth it. Like it was great.
Exactly. We love it.
So yeah, okay. I think that wraps it up. If you like this type of episode, please, if you're watching on YouTube, especially leave a comment for us. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting platform, DM us on Instagram. You can find us at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini. But we would like to know if you would like a series of this, like the stuff they don't tell you about what's, on show day or the stuff they don't tell you about post show or whatever it is. Like I would like to do these series. So this one's kind of just like the stuff they don't tell you about bikini prep. So comment below if you are watching on YouTube. Let us know if you would like to hear more episodes just like that. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Also, if you find it in your heart to leave us a rating and review, that just helps others that are interested in the same topics find it. So we try to keep this ad free. Please pass it along. Share the love if you enjoyed this episode. And if you would like coaching with Leemarie or myself, you can go to glamgirlbikini.com and hit the get started button. Thanks for listening, guys.